Thank you very much, Professor Popovsky, for joining us and sharing your insight. Thank you very much. Now we move on to North America. Abrego Garcia, the migrant who became a symbol of the Trump administration's hardline immigration policies, was released from custody in Tennessee on Friday after being wrongfully deported to El Salvador earlier this year. Abrego, who is 30, was deported in March despite a 2019 court ruling that he should not be sent back due to a risk of gang violence. He was flown back to the U.S. in June 2023 to face criminal charges of transporting undocumented migrants. After his release, Abrego was greeted by family members in Maryland. However, his freedom could be short-lived. Immigration officials may still detain him again and initiate new deportation proceedings. Abrego's lawyers have filed a lawsuit challenging the legality of his deportation and have raised concerns about him being sent to another country, possibly Uganda, without notice. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump also recently talked about his administration's immigration policies in a brief press meeting. Let's listen into what he had to say.
We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo.
As in the case of Abrego Garcia, the government is continuing its efforts to deport him, with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem calling him a criminal and vowing to fight for his removal. Now for this discussion, we're joined by Professor Jim Rice. He's a professor of international law, joins us live from Wigan. Thank you, Professor Jim, for joining us today. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. Now, what more can you tell us about this situation with Abrego Garcia's wrongful deportation and Kristi Noem still going behind him?
Well, earlier this year I wrote an article about this, and as you excellently pointed out in your introduction, I'm just going to call him Kilmar. Okay, Kilmar was sent. Deported is actually the wrong word. He was sent to El Salvador, to this horrible CCOT detention center, Gulag. And then it came out that he was wrongfully deported or wrongfully sent there. And so then a judge ordered that he be released and returned to the United States, whereupon he was detained in Tennessee up until very recently. Now he's finally reunited with his family. And even now, the Trump administration, in the form of Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem, are without evidence, mind you, claiming that he's guilty and he's one of the worst in the worst. And while I don't claim to, proclaim or comment on Kilmar's guilt or innocence, in the United States, under the rule of law, under the Constitution, we have a principle of innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And the words by Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi, and for that matter, Donald Trump, are not sufficient to prove to anybody that Kilmar is guilty of anything. So up at this point, it seems to me to be very clear that this is malicious prosecution, and that this individual has caused the government, in the form of Trump, to lose face. And so now they're determined to have him either re-detained or somehow sent to some third country, which would be illegal, and it would be in violation of the judge's order.
Yes, and Professor, how does this case illustrate the current administration's disregard for due process and also human rights? And you also mentioned that innocent until proven guilty.
This is the cornerstone of the American legal system, the idea of due process. And it doesn't really start with, as I used to teach my students, it didn't start with the founding of America or the American Constitution. This goes all the way back to the Magna Carta in England and the idea of the common law. And so, what the Trump administration is doing is he's assaulting all of these bedrock principles that are, as I said, the foundation of American constitutional order and what we call the rule of law. So, again, it's disturbing, it's frightening, but fortunately, the judges have been standing up and have been making their rulings according to law and not according to the orders of Donald Trump.
For joining us and sharing that insight, Professor Jim Rice. Please stay with us as we come